Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to check out how to create OTBI analysis with drill through functionality. We're going to navigate from the OTBI analysis to the application page. So in the last video, we took a look at drill down functionality. So drill down is basically navigating from a summary analysis to a detailed analysis. And the detailed analysis can be another graphical analysis, or it can be a tabular analysis. The difference between drill down and drill through is drill through takes you to the application page. So you're going to click on a field in the analysis, and then it's going to take you right to the application page. For example, let's say you have an analysis showing you invoice details. And from the invoice details analysis, you can click on the invoice number and then navigate to the actual application page. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. Before I get started, I just want to thank everyone who has been watching the videos, giving me feedback. We started with less than 15 subscribers, but we are close to 100 subscribers now. So thank you very much. All right, let's get started. All right, there's a Cloud Customer Connect post that explains these drill through functionality and the drill through URLs and the parameters that needs to be used. I'm going to leave a link to that post in the description of the video. In the white paper that they explain the various actions that you can take. So in this example, view invoice details and what's the drill through URL format, what are the different parameters. You can see, you can view the invoice, you can edit the invoice, you can create payments, etc. So take a look at this. You'll learn a lot from this white paper. All right, back to the system. So I'm logged into the BI catalog. So let me create a new analysis. So I'm going to create new analysis. And I'm going to select my favorite subject area. All right, I'm going to go all the way to payables, transactions, real time. We're going to keep it very simple. Let's have invoice number, invoice date, invoice ID is needed. And I'll explain why. Then we can have the supplier name maybe and the invoice amount. That's all we need to learn how to create a drill through functionality. All right, I'm going to go ahead and select the different data fields. So invoice details, general information. I'm going to expand this so you guys can see. Let's start with invoice ID, invoice number, invoice date. We include the supplier name, maybe. All right. And let's go to invoice amounts and select the invoice amount field. All right. Let's go to the results tab and make sure that we are able to see some results. All right. We have the invoice ID, invoice number, invoice date, supplier party name, and the invoice amount. I'm going to rearrange this a little bit. So I'm going to drag supplier or party name to the first field. So we see all the invoices belonging to a specific supplier. Now, invoice ID is something we need for the drill through to work because we have to pass the invoice ID, and that's how the system navigates to the specific invoice details. But from a user perspective, they don't want to see the invoice ID. They care more about the invoice number, right? So let's go ahead and hide the invoice ID field. So I'm going to go to the invoice ID field, column properties, and then go to column format. Click on the hide option, click OK, and then go back to the results tab. And you can see the invoice ID column is not displayed anymore. All right. So now we have to create a drill through URL for the invoice number field. So let's go back to the criteria tab, column properties for invoice number, then interactions tab, going to change the primary interaction to action links. And I'm going to select, so this, click on the add action link option. All right, I'm going to give a link test. So I'm going to say view invoice details. And this is what will show up when our user clicks on the link. And let's add a new action. If you remember, in the last video for drill down, we selected navigate to BI content because we are navigating from a summary analysis to a detailed analysis. Both were BI content. So we selected navigate to BI content. For drill through, we're going to select navigate to a web page. So let's do that. And this is where you give the URL. So I've got this URL. Now, you have the your instance URL, and then these are standard. So you have 3 parameters. You can see 1 is defined here, 2 is defined here, and 3 is defined here. And 3 is invoice ID and action. What action can the user take once they navigate to the page, and what type of object is it? Is it invoice? Is it payment, etc. So let's copy this and let's paste it here. And then before I go into define parameters, I'm going to click on options and make sure that I select open in new window. All right. And then let's click on define parameters. And I'm going to say add a new parameter. So we have given the parameter name as 1, 2, and 3. So you can see it comes as 1. And this is going to be a static value, right? So I'm going to say AP view invoice. This is fixed and hidden. Let's add the other 2 parameters. The same thing here. It's going to be view. This is a static value, fixed, hidden. And then the last field is the invoice ID field. So invoice ID is something that you have to pass from the analysis. So we change the type of the value from value to column value. Then select the invoice ID column. This is again fixed and hidden, right? And then click OK. All right, and click OK. Click OK. Save this analysis. Let's give it a name, drill through to AP. All right. All right. Let's save this, go back to the catalog, and then open the analysis. All right, let me click on this one. And you'll see the link test that we gave earlier, view invoice details. The user will click on that, and hopefully it takes you to the invoice details page. All right. So you can see the invoice number here, and we clicked on the invoice number and it took us to the invoice number here. And the supplier is building management, and you can see the supplier is building management. Now if I click on this one, let's see what that shows us. All right, here you can see that I believe it's the same invoice number, right? Yes, the same invoice number, but the invoice IDs are different. So it's going to take you to that correct invoice details in the application page, right? Because we are passing the invoice ID to the drill through URL. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to create a drill through OTBI analysis with drill through functionality. Make sure you take a look at the Cloud Customer Connect post. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Read through the white paper. This is very useful. All right, that's all I had for today. I hope you found this helpful. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you love the content that I'm creating, please consider subscribing. I'll talk to you all in the next one. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. Stay safe. Bye and take care.